Day 2 for the DreamHack Zowie Open, live from DreamHack Winter 2016. It is indeed rather chilly here in Jönköping, but fortunately the heat of thousands of people and thousands of PCs and a whole lot of Counter-Strike is keeping us warm and toasty here in Sweden. We've been having a great time so far. The first day has already rendered some teams a little in shock. The favorites falling, surprise wins, and 2 teams already locked into the semi-finals. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, and you have just caught me throughout my morning routine, pouring my Monster Energy into my G2A mug, staring at my Alienware monitor.
It's gonna be a good day.
Taking a sip of it as I wish I could have plugged my Alienware laptop into perhaps a Zowie monitor, and it'd be easier to maneuver with a Razer mouse.
Or the new Kraken headset.
Kraken headset's fantastic audio.
Kraken Chroma.
Better than this headset for sure. Either way, these are our sponsors that have enabled us to make this event a possibility.
Of course, if you can't get any of those, Alex, you can always catch up things with an app that you have on your phone.
They make a great point. Of course, it enables you to keep track of everything that happened yesterday using the theScore eSports application available on your smartphone device, iOS and Google Play, news articles, stats, and more. But as well as that, you can actually go ahead and check a video. It's much better if you want to go ahead and digest it in a very quick, succinct chunk. Not much better, it's about the same. You can go ahead and check out the day 1 recap. That's what we're going to go ahead and do while you tweet us with the hashtag DHOpener what your favorite moment was of your first day here. So let's go let's go ahead and have a quick look at how day 1 did look.
Yeah, man, I came to cross the line. Never earned a half pop, but damn, I can't get off my grind.
This next bullet can mean everything. He's missing out shots, but lands the headshot at the end.
College dropout, let's say that I was done with teachers.
All the Renegades have to do is hide in this round, and this map will be theirs.
And keep running, pedal to the floor, be something. Man, I'm gonna do it my way, the highway. I got my mind made, I got my mind made up. Yeah, I'm doing this. I'm on my grind, skate up. Yeah, I'm moving great. See me roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up.
Oh, he's got his position as well. Good first shot, able to relocate. That gives them inside the site, but he does decent damage. He's got to stay alive in this. Doesn't really need to be fair. His teammates are going to get there. Lovely shot.
And keep running, pedal to the floor, be something.
Roll up, roll up. That track does it feels like you're kind of driving through the Californian sun. It's a bit different from the normal wub, isn't it? Gentlemen, of course, joined by Moses and YNK for our second day. You enjoy that highlight there, boys?
It's way better. I like it.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
I liked your version.
The Bucharest one was amazing.
I know, the AWP one.
With the AWP sounds. Yeah, that was
sick.
That was sick.
Like classical music, yeah. Big shout. I think it's David that does that. That's a big shout out to him. Jason, how are you doing on the second day? I see you basically, have you made an executive decision to do jackets and pop culture references as a look?
I mean, if he's going to be a meme, he might as well just wear, movie t-shirts.
Yeah, but I mean, you did actually reference Jurassic Park yesterday.
I did actually reference Jurassic.
Was that
foreshadowing? Yeah, maybe I'll foreshadow what I'm gonna wear tomorrow.
Oh, that does sound exciting.
Naked Gun, of course.
Wow, you're incredibly sharp for this time. Yenko, so you're the sharpest tool in this current desk.
That's
how you
so
feeling?
depressing, isn't it?
Yeah, all right, O-Tool. I'm talking about the sharpest tool here. Yanko, how you doing today? You feeling good about the CS? I mean, we've already got Godsent and Renegades locked in, and you can remind everyone that was not what we were anticipating.
True, we had a couple of upsets. The most notable one is Dignitas. We're going to see them in the first game playing in the losers match against Flipside. We also have both North American teams, Cloud9 and Optic, in the losers bracket as well, which is, again, surprising for 2016 at least. They are both very strong teams, so unfortunately one of them will go home today, and perhaps even a Legends team.
Yeah, to visualize that, we can bring up the groups just to kind of understand and digest, because yes, you can see that losers match. That is Dignitas on the ropes versus Flipside, already conceding that loss after a very grueling overtime on Mirage versus Kingwin. In fact, Kingwin nearly managed to glide all the way to that semi-final with Mirage alone, but Godsent did manage to falter them, and that will be Godsent then locked in for their semi-final spot. And the other side of the bracket, Group B, it was actually the Aussies who managed to pick up that spot, knocking Gambit down in a rather convincing win of their own. Jason, if you look at Group B at a glance, you can't help but wonder what would have happened if that 16-14 had been the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been a very, very interesting matchup that Cloud9 would have played Gambit in, but unfortunately, I mean, Gambit actually looked very, very good, and we saw the interviews, some teams, admitting that they're going to be a strong team in this tournament, so they're still not done yet, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was actually RDL of Godsend. You can see them there at the bottom of the bracket that did say, keep your eyes on Gambit. Do not sleep on both Godsend and Gambit. He certainly probably gives his team some credit as well. There's no doubt about it. But them getting themselves to the semi-finals, we can, of course, acknowledge that Godsend's performance was, I mean, a 16-9 versus Flipside, and then we also got to see that second win very recently versus Team Kingwin. Neither of which are seen as kind of top contenders to do damage at this tournament. So yes, they're in the semi-finals, but there's still grueling tests that come, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, surely, especially, this is a team that when you have the players that they have with the pedigree, and perhaps it's a little bit unfair considering this is like a brand new lineup, essentially a brand new team, but when you have players like Flusha and JW in this lineup and Pronax, you expect them to be higher up. So, I mean, I think our expectations of Godsend are much higher than what this team has shown they can do. So certainly, I mean, going deep into this tournament, already being in the semifinals is a good start, but, I think they have to get to the finals and potentially win this to really be impressed by Godsend.
That sounds fair enough. Now, we did see Godsend versus Flipside on Train, and Flipside will be our first team we get to see in total, so we can just take a moment to talk a little bit about what we did witness from Flipside in our first day, Yenko. Underwhelming being the operative word, do you think, especially for that second half on Train? I think they killed one round versus the Swedes.
True, and it's the T side. I mean, it is the harder side, but Flipside, we always tout them as this team that's very methodical, very strategic, under Blade, that they have this system in place where even if maybe their stars are underperforming, they can rely on that system to get them rounds pretty much, and that didn't work at all in their train game. So it is going to be tricky for them moving forward more than anything else, because they have to play Dignitas, unfortunately, which are one of the hottest teams in the scene right now.
One of the hottest teams. Dignitas so hot right now. That's a reference, and I couldn't even tell you what it's from. The one with blue steel.
Zoolander.
Thank you. You got me. You got me covered, haven't you?
I know my pop culture.
You know your pop. Well, yeah, maybe you got a Zoolander t-shirt.
Yeah, maybe. I guess we'll find out tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Oh my God, such excitement. Are you genuinely doing another pop culture t-shirt tomorrow? Is this the thing now?
I don't know. I don't decide these things until I wake up in the morning, actually.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah, as opposed to August, which dresses an actual life-size Semler mannequin every night before he goes.
He does actually travel with the mannequin.
Does he?
Yep.
He's called Anders.
No way. Oh,
I was going to go the blow-up doll route, but Anders works. Yeah, I was going to take it a little bit farther.
Wow, okay. Morning. Good morning. Great to have you here. Hope you're happy. I'm just going to take another sip from my G2A mug and have some Monster Energy. And we can start talking about that. I feel like Richard Lewis every time I do that. You know when he makes a point in his videos and then takes like a victory sip? That's what I feel like I'm doing.
It's like the exclamation point at the end of a sentence.
Yeah.
The only difference is you're yet to make a point.
Let me try it. Okay. Jesus. Let me try it right now. So let's take a closer look at our first game. It's, of course, going to be Dignitas, who are our first roster.
Bad.
That felt good, actually. I like that. It is the Danes, Magic, Rubino, MSL, Config, and KGB. And I never get tired of talking about this team and their rise to global dominance within CSGO. It's been so swift, so surprising to both themselves and to the community. And I think what's so fun is when you outline where their strengths lie, you kind of find yourself mentioning all five at this point.
Yeah, true, individuals as well, but also you look at here on the screen, you have best map Nuke. That's another reason why Dignitas is so strong. They're one of the best teams on the map, and in general have a very deep map pool. You look at the team, and the two obvious stars are Magic and Config, the heavy hitters of the team, but Cajun is like the solid rock as well. Then you have MSL, who is the in-game leader in that supportive role, and Rubino as well, something similar, but they both also have games or performances where they really help out the team, so just all around a very strong team.
Especially MSL as an individual, as a player who's been called out for individual performances, but once this team has been clicking recently, it feels like he feels so confident in how he's leading this team that everyone's going to be following what he wants to do and everyone's going to be following the game plan, that he's able to perform better on an individual level. It's always such a great position to get to in a team as the in-game leader, is when you can feel so comfortable knowing what you're going to be doing and what everyone's doing, that you can focus more on your own personal gameplay.
And also when you talk about in-game leaders and underperforming individually, it mostly comes down to the T side, and that can be excused to an extent because you put your teammates in a position to succeed and you play for them. You can't really do that on the CT side, right? You know, the action might be coming your way and you have to deal with it. And I feel that MSL, most of his highlights or his highlight performances have been with great CT sides. He plays on some maps the B-bomb site, and I think he does a very good job at it.
Yeah, and on the screen now you do have Rubino. Now
he's hyped.
a stark contrast to perhaps Magic's scoreline, but I do think it's always interesting when you have got the likes of Magic, the likes of Config, who are, you know, definitely top of the scoreboard in majority of your games. And people will sit there and go, well, surely that just means Rubino is lesser of a player, but he still is a very huge contribution to Dignitas. I was wondering if you could outline exactly what he was doing, or perhaps maybe if he has a kind of comparison to perhaps someone on Flipside, since they're up on our screens. Let's come back to that Rubino point. I don't want to lose out on the opportunity to talk about Flipside, which we do have now. Now, Waylander, an intriguing story, Yanko, and I think you'll know it better than I. Just seeing him and his kind of rise and fall, I think, is a good way to summarize how he broke onto the scene.
I mean, he had that breakthrough performance with Peter. It was Katowice qualifiers, right? And he had great individual performances there. But after that, I think he also had a small hiatus because of army obligations, something of the sorts, right? Then came back to play and didn't really live up to the hype. Sure, a very solid player all around, has good performances here and there, but not on a very consistent basis.
Yeah, I mean, he's just one of those players, much like what we've seen, where he just hasn't lived up to that level. So, I mean, he still has some work to do. You have to imagine as well, and in Flipside, which is such a tactical team, I wonder if there's some kind of, you know, with Blade just being that like massively tactical in-game leader, if there is something that takes away from the individual level of the players because it's so strategic, it's so system focused. You know, and that you see that sometimes in teams that have that one in-game leader who tends to be the puppet master, that there's a lot less freedom for individual players to do the things that they like to do and just, you know, go by like the seat of their pants, they say, just play with your gut.
It's always interesting to me when you see you know how badly they conceded that loss. Just looking at some of those stats, Blade's rocking, you know, 20% headshot ratio, rather 50%, 0.5 KD ratio, and a 20% headshot ratio. Gosh,
Have another sip. The exclamation point on that point.
Oh yeah, I should have done that. You're right. Foolish. Either way, let's bring up the maps because we can understand exactly how this is a best of 3 is going to go down. The days of the best of 1 is over. Our first day done, and now we get to really see how this one's going to go down. Yanko, I've seen you've done some brainstorming ahead of this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is a bit interesting for Flipside in a sense that Dignitas' go-to veto usually is Train. It's either that or Cash, and those are both maps that Flipside actually plays. So Flipside, for their pick, will most likely pick one of the two. The problem is Flipside's go-to veto is Dust 2, which means Nuke is open for Dignitas if they want to take it. Flipside also plays Nuke, but I don't think they're at the level where Dignitas is. So those would be my 2 picks. And then for the decider, probably something like Mirage.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we'll see a Train come out for Flipside. I mean, even with their struggles yesterday, I mean, this is something that they can just go back to. New probably for Dignitas. This is the portion where Flipside really gets beat up and really is going to have a tough time. So hopefully Blade masterminded something. But this veto has to go so incredibly well for Flipside. I'm not sure there's a single map in the pool that I would say they're favorites on. And there's not really one that you can pick to be a weakness for Dignitas. They are that team with this like just all of a sudden came into the scene with this rise and just
it's not a 7-map pool, is it? Is it? I mean, Cash is that?
No, they don't like Cash.
Okay. So basically they've got a full the beauty and one of the best, most of the best teams in the world.
Here's the thing: it's another crazy situation where they could be good on Cash probably with the tools that they have, but for whatever reason, MSL as a leader just doesn't like it.
No, wait. So they've actually taken Overpass first, and Nuke as a decider. Flipside left Nuke available to them. Am I reading that correctly?
Yeah, they had to ban Dust 2.
They never played Dust 2, so it's their go-to veto, and a bit surprising perhaps for Dignitas to pick Overpass over Nuke. Maybe also thinking that Flipside would expect that, and they would prepare extensively for that Nuke game, knowing how Blade is and how he focuses heavily on anti-stratting their opponents. Maybe Overpass is a bit of a curveball by Dignitas here.
A curveball, no doubt, but it does sound like there is indeed doubt for Flipside, a team that have no doubt. I'm using that word plenty of times, got a chance to do some damage. And I think the name that has yet to be mentioned, and I always feel like it has to be, is that of Wild Edit. Someone who has been, I mean, Yanko, you look triggered every time I mention his name. It's got to this point now where he has these world-class performances, genuinely world-class performances, and then you watch another game and it's amateur errors that make you scream at the TV.
I think it's just an example of one of those players who are super inconsistent in their play with the AWP. Like, extremely flashy at times, has these crazy highlight rounds that can go through the whole game. But then a round comes in a different game where he's just holding an angle and the player comes to the angle and he misses his shot. And that's, he's put in a position to succeed maybe by himself or by his team. And that's what you need from your Opper. What you need from an Opper is to hit those shots 9 times out of 10. Everything else, like the flashy plays, that's a bonus thing. But what's required from you, your primary role, your job is to hit those shots where you have an advantage. And I feel that for Flipside at times it has actually been detrimental, the amount of those shots being missed. So I'm not really sure how. It's been a long time that this has happened for him.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the frustrating part is we've seen such good games out of him because he is the player who at E-League has like the world record game against Echo Fox, of course. Let's be fair, but it was like for like most frags in a match. I think in like regulation, or maybe not most frags, but like highest ADR. He had like an insane amount of kills. He pretty much like single-handedly won a game 1 versus 5 on Train against Echo Fox. So I mean, I think he has like 3 world records in terms of a LAN game just from that one match. So you've seen the highs, but like this is the thing: you don't need to hit that peak that frequently. Like you want to find somewhere in the middle that you can be consistent with, and that's the big thing that we need to see at a World Edit.
And is there an example of that consistency elsewhere? I think it's actually a really good chance.
Not on Flipside.
Opportunity to chime in with Cajun B's name, right? Though, I mean, Dignitas have reignited not only his individual performance, but he's helped them as a bit of a catalyst to success.
I think it's a very good comparison. In fact, Cajun is like the complete opposite in a sense. Not that many flashy shots. Sure, like he's a good player, he can hit them every now and then, but he's very, very good at hitting those shots where he's just holding a line, holding an angle, waiting for someone to cross. Player comes into his crosshair and he gets the kill. I mean, it sounds simple enough in theory, but to be consistent with it, it can be a wide peak, it can be a just a jiggle peak. It's not as easy to pull off as it may sound. So I really like Oppers like Cajun B, like.
Yeah. Hey, man, we're doing it all day. doubt. like. We're having some fun, and of course, we are waiting just for one player to resolve a slight technical hitch with his headset. In the meantime, if you're sitting there going, "What, bloody start this game already? I'm ready for my first game of a second day of DreamHack Winter," you can have it. But first, you should go ahead and check out a contest being run by G2A. The people that have provided me with my lovely mug of Monster Energy. And we're also doing a giveaway where you can win gift cards and more. You can see the link, it's beneath me. Go there, g2a.com.
You can also win the team banners.
Did you see that?
That's so next level. I want to win one.
But we got a little confused because it's...
There are some trivia questions. There are some difficult trivia questions.
So you know how we're like supposed to have... Oh, there it is. That's awesome.
Thank you, production.
Thank you. Yeah, so we were talking about this, except when you go to that link, which we did in excitement this morning, it's not as simple as pressing a button. You have to actually use your brain.
To get raffle tickets, essentially what it is.
I'd like to win the Gambit one and wear it as a cape in Serbia. Just walk around.
See, those are the 2 I would pick. I would pick either Godsend or Detroit Renegades, just because...
Illuminati, of course.
Yeah, Illuminati, and then I'm from Michigan, so the Detroit thing.
I don't know what I'd go for. I think I could rock Cloud9. I think I could rock that one. Yeah.
What's
constantly disappointment?
I look good in blue.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about technical issues with headsets is actually interesting. Yeah, I feel like the difference is noticeable to an extent with players being in booths, because you don't have to wear sound cancelling headsets. You can wear your own, which obviously makes it easier for you to hear things in game. Sometimes when you have arena events and the players are not in booths and have those like big sound cancelling headsets, even with the crowd, even with the noise that the crowd makes, sometimes very difficult to hear things in game. And you can see like a player holding an angle and someone is running behind him and he's not reacting.
Yeah.
So it leads to these weird situations. I think that this is like way better for players, obviously. Optimum. Yeah.
I mean, that's actually just kind of funny, because I remember talking to Get Right a couple years back after an event, and he was saying that like they did a whole match where basically I was just like, you guys just seem to like rush that entire game, like there was no tactics to that. And he's just like, well, yeah, there's a crowd and the announcers, and we don't have like the sound canceling headsets on, so we literally just, there's no point in walking, because you can never hear footsteps even if people are running. And it was like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Well, you can see Dignitas, despite not necessarily having to, has still rocking the rigs with their in-ears. And we can start now talking predictions, as it's almost time to get underway with our first map of this best of 3. Flipside Dignitas, gentlemen, and we are not going to be returning in between maps, and so we can just kind of brainstorm how the series will go as they actually do jump into their knife round. Jason?
I'm just going to take Dignitas in a 2-0.
In a 2-0? Yep. Not giving them a chance on their first.
I mean, what did we see? We didn't really see any T rounds out of Flipside. You need to be able to put your T rounds up, and perhaps against Dignitas they might be able to do a little bit better, but I think considering we just talked about Cajun B and Magisk and Config, this is a team that you're not going to beat in a BO3. So, I mean, I don't think Flipside can do it across the series, and I just think 2-0 is probably the logical Logical comeback.
Logical step. I mean, we've only seen one best of one from Flipside so far in this tournament.
I mean, but they're a very interesting team. I remember the Star Ladder tournament in Kiev. They were having terrible performances on Train, and then they come into a best-of-3 series with FaZe. They lose Train again, first map by a huge margin. Then they win Nuke like 16-14 and win Cash as the third map as well. So when it is actually, you know, crunch time and when they're facing elimination, they tend to play much better. Now, if it were any other team, probably than Dignitas, I would maybe give them a map. But I just feel that Dignitas is a stronger team in every aspect of the game, and it would be a huge upset for them to lose out here, even lose the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's a safe bet at this point in time. Dignitas perhaps just a bit of a hiccup in that first day.
We were sitting at breakfast this morning, and Yanko just turned to me and he goes, Moses, I can see it now. Flipside is going to win a map, and we're going to go to all 3 today to start the day off.
Hasn't put his money where
He saw the nightmare. He saw the nightmare coming, so...
I'm
afraid for you.
I would love to see the same flip side that caused that upset at the major, that, you know, picked one of best of 3 versus NIP, which is no easy feat. Perhaps they can even test the Danes. Perhaps on the map, which we saw actually on the graphic, an 18-3 record. It's a scary map. If they does come to a third and flip side, they've got their work cut out for them. The Death Think Stig's going to take it. We'll find out what your casters have to say right now as we start our first best of 3 of the day.